Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Selection Saturday. It is the Selection Saturday Kickoff show brought to you on Facebook and YouTube. Week 9 wraps up today. Having already made the helmet selections last night for today, it is now the Lanyard selections portion with a touch of helmet principles. We did that before, didn't we? I think we did. Let me see if I have my card right here. How many games are we picking? 10, 20, 29. So, having already done 30 last night, we got 29 today. Let's put these lanyards on, shall we? First one out. We have UConn and Boston College. UConn 1-6. Boston College 4-3. A team for whom I didn't give anything in the way of a chance at the beginning of the year. Now it appears that they may have a shot at getting a bowl bid. They'll only need 2 more wins, and they'll get one of them today. So we're going to go with Boston College in an easy one over UConn. Penn State hosting Indiana. Why is this on television? Nobody wants to see Indiana, not Indiana. Penn State won't mind, though. It'll be another win for the Nittany Lions after their loss in the shoe last week. West Virginia, Central Florida. West Virginia 4-3. UCF 3-4. I called it last night. It's one of them crossroads games. Something has to give today. To the winner goes one step further towards bowl eligibility. The loser takes a step back and has to work twice as hard to try to get to where they need to be for bowl eligibility. West Virginia, you can't screw this up. You just can't. It's go time. Do it. Do it! Florida State and Wake Forest up next. Florida State, number 4 in the country. Wake Forest at 4-3, just shuffling along through the ACC slate. They won't be shuffling for too much longer. They're going to end up finishing 4-4 after today, I think. Florida State should win that one. Number 6, Oklahoma at 7-0, visiting Kansas at 5-2. Well, talk about something that has to give also. Oklahoma could keep rolling along and make the media go orgasmic over the Sooners like they do every year. I would rather they lose now. I'm calling an upset. Besides, Kansas needs a win for bowl eligibility anyway, and they have got to be in it for the full 60 to do it. They probably won't win, but hey, stranger things have happened, so I've been told. And by the way, that is the first, where is it? The first nylon lanyard of the show today, and here comes the second one. Kansas State over Houston, because I'm not a Dana Holgerson fan. You already know that. If Kansas State wins, they'll be bowl eligible. They're 5-2. I had a difficult time with this next one. As you know, I'm a conflicted Northwestern fan. Had been a big fan for the last few years, and you know the story, how it played out before the season began with Pat Fitzgerald being gone. But Randy Braun has done an excellent job in getting this team to where they are. They're 3-4. The only bad part about it is I'm quite positive that there are tougher games on the slate down the road. This is one of them, though. And they're going up against a Maryland team today at home that needs only one more win for bowl eligibility. I hate to do this, Northwestern, but I'm picking Maryland. South Carolina and Texas A&M. South Carolina in some deep, dire straits right now. And once again, I am not talking about money for nothing and the chicks being free. I suppose you want me to go into Sultans of Swing territory. Well, if you're South Carolina, you're going to need to do some swinging for the rest of the season. At 2-5, this is not looking good, especially after the year you had a year ago. Now you got to go into College Station and try and steal one on Texas A&M, who, by the way, is 4-3. I hate to do this, but I'm picking A&M. Clemson and North Carolina State. Well, any respect I have for Dabo Swinney now may have been lost. When you put your starting quarterback under the bus, calling him out, I'm sorry. That just doesn't sit right. If he called his own play, I get that, but you don't call him out through the media. I'm sorry. You don't do that. And it's for that reason alone that I'm picking NC State to beat Clemson. By the way, both teams are 4-3, and work will need to be done for bowl eligibility for both teams. Ah, yes, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Well, at least that's what they used to call it. Now I wouldn't call it just another game. Anytime Georgia and Florida get together, there's always something special that goes down. The very first Georgia-Florida game I ever saw was one of the all-time classics. When the Georgia Bulldogs rallied behind the arm of Buck Bellew, the hands and speed of Lindsey Scott, and one of the all-time great calls, and I can't remember the guy's name that did the radio call of the Georgia victory, but I could still hear the soundbite. There's gonna be some furniture destroyed tonight! Or something like that. Georgia, number 1 in the country, 7-0. Florida, I have not been watching Florida. They're 5-2. There have been games this year where I've been all in for them. Not today. Gotta go with the dogs. Yeah, that hurt to do that, but still. Now I got the next batch of lanyards, and I gotta sift through it like rubble, so you have to bear with me. Okay, here we go. As long as they don't get tangled. It's like I'm at a boutique every time I hear these lanyards clinking. Miami at 5-2, hosting Virginia at 3-5. Why do I have to pick Miami? And I suppose to a larger extent, we have, let me see if I read this right. Okay, number 14. There we go. Number 14, Notre Dame. Already bowl eligible, hosting 2-5 Pitt today. Well, Pitt's gauntlet is well underway. If they even win today, good luck against Florida State next week. So, I mean, I can't see Pitt going to a bowl. I just can't. With all apologies to Pitt fans everywhere, Pitt is not it, I'm afraid. Minnesota at 4-3, hosting 2-5 SMU. I got to ride with PJ Fleck and his Golden Gophers. They're starting to come together just a little bit. 2 more wins, they're bowl eligible. And they've been able to sustain a good level of play through this season, having begun the year with 2 quarterbacks transferring and a third one, I don't know if he was a walk-on, but now they got a good situation staring them in the face, providing that they can go through the rest of the schedule unscathed. They only need 2 wins. So we're taking Minnesota in that one. When the season began, I honestly did not want to see Nebraska do anything. Mainly because I was one to think that perhaps maybe they can have the what's the term I'm looking for? The exit fee paid in full and leave the Big Ten, because there's just no wiggle room. There's no wiggle room for Nebraska to be in a situation where they could go to a bowl game, not in that conference. Well, you know what? I've been proven wrong. They're 4-3, and they got a 2-5 Purdue team that just isn't looking like their old selves. It's risk-reward when you get somebody through the transfer portal. Hudson Card is not your answer. That I can say wholeheartedly. Go Big Red. Taking the Huskers. BYU in Texas. Well, if I may borrow a Lee Corsoism, and it's got something to do with 2 chances, being slim and none. There's only 2 times out of the year that I would, well, technically 3. Technically 3. Or 4. No, it is 3. It is 3. There's only 3 times out of the year that I would take Texas in a game with 100% heart. It would be against Oklahoma, it would be against A&M, and it would definitely be against BYU. So I'm going to take the Longhorns. All right. Hook 'em. Don't leave any souls to spare. Tulane and Rice. By the way, Texas number 7 in the country going into that one, and Tulane is number 22. And they're visiting Rice today. Tulane already in line for the bowl. Bonanza. Rice needs 2 wins to get there. Rice, I want you to win so bad. I do. Much in the same way that I wanted Rutgers to get to the bowls. It's going to have to wait a week, I'm afraid. And I still got to get an actual green wave lanyard for Tulane. So we're going to take Tulane on the road. But Rice, if you win, it would please me. 5-2 Wyoming visits the blue turf of Adamson Stadium in Boise to take on Boise State. I tell you what, as much as I want Wyoming to win and get their bowl eligibility all square, excuse me, had a little bit of orange juice before the show came on. As much as I want for Wyoming to get its bowl eligibility today, they got a Boise State team that I think is a little bit angry. A little bit angry. At 3-4, time is running out on the Broncos. You're at home. There is a good home field advantage to you guys. You must take care of business if you are to be in the conversation at the end of the season. The only other game, other than Troy and Texas State, involving teams where the winner gets bowl eligibility and the loser has to wait a week. Now I got to make sure that I find the right lanyard for it. 5-2 Tennessee and 5-2 Kentucky. When these teams met in Knoxville last year, I fell in love with the black uniforms. They won't wear them today, but they go to Kentucky, and as much as I like to think Kentucky will extract something from this game in the way of revenge, it ain't going to happen. Yeah, let's wrap the Tennessee orange around. Make sure that the folks at home out there can see it. 'Cause this actual color here is not black. It's navy. And I have another lanyard in there for Tennessee that's nylon. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. It's got to be polyester or you're out the door. But we have kept some of the nylon ones. Some of them. And there will be at least a couple more that are going to get picked here. Washington, by the way, Tennessee, number 21, going into the game today. Number 5, Washington and Stanford. Oh, God. Wouldn't it be awesome if Stanford would upset Washington? Throw a whole new wrench in the works? No? Okay. I didn't want to pick Washington, but can't count out Michael Penix and the job he's done for the Huskies, so we'll go with that. Big one in Madison. Ohio State and Wisconsin. Wisconsin needs a win for bowl eligibility. Ohio State needs to keep pace for the college football playoff. It's a gigantic matchup. A lot more gigantic than initially thought when I first saw the schedule. When I first saw the schedule, it was all about the gauntlet. They've already passed 2 tests, Notre Dame and Penn State. Now they go into Madison and they take on a Wisconsin team that, by and large, I think, have got themselves ready for this game. The first 7 games have got them ready for this. They're at home, and no one really knows for sure what's going to be expected from it. But you could also pose a similar argument for Ohio State. And it's going to be true right up until the Michigan game. Every game that they win gets them ready for the next one. And the next one. And the next one. They've been battle tested. It's a tough one to pick anyway, but I don't expect a major shakeup in the CFP, at least not yet. I'm going to roll with the Ohio State Buckeyes on the road. That much we can confirm. Number 17, North Carolina visiting Georgia Tech. North Carolina at 6-1. They were upset, of course, by Virginia last week. Georgia Tech, meanwhile, we're not sure which team's going to show up. Could they deal Carolina another loss? It's possible. I don't see it happening, though. Not when Mac Brown's coaching and they got that quarterback down there, so we're going to take North Carolina at home. Here's a question. How many fans will fill up the Rose Bowl today for when Colorado plays USC or UCLA? Oh, mercy. Thank God I got a Lanyard for a reference point. I forgot UCLA is actually ranked, and I don't have it marked on the card here, which is weird. UCLA hosting Colorado. UCLA at 5-2 with a shot at bowl eligibility. Colorado at 4-3. But in their own hearts and minds, they're undefeated. I got an SNL sketch that you can find on YouTube for proof of it. Not today, though. Chip Kelly. If you got them prepared, unleash hell. It now brings us to Oklahoma State at 5-2 against 2-5 Cincinnati. While Cincinnati's hunt for the benchmark win in the Big 12 has yet to be found, and it ain't going to be found today. I'm afraid all this talk about the catitude has got the Bearcats' claws declawed. So we're going to go with Oklahoma State over Cincinnati. And speaking of cats, we go from the Bearcats to the Wildcats. Arizona hosting Oregon State, and I don't think I have Oregon State's ranking in here. I believe it's 11. Overrated. They're already in a bowl. We don't know where they'll be playing. Not that we care. Arizona, meanwhile, this is a very good spot for them. They are a scary team. For a team that beat Washington State by 38 points on the road, should tell you right off the top that they are a team not to be taken lightly. And I could not agree more. Time to bear down, Cats. I'm taking Arizona in an upset over Oregon State. And last but not least, among the among the Lanyard selections, not the big ones, not named the big ones, although this is kind of a big one. It is 6-1 UNLV, 6-1 Fresno State. At stake may very well be the outright lead in the Mountain West Conference. It promises to be a good one in the Silicon Valley tonight. Fresno State, I think, is a little bit more seasoned for this kind of game, and with that, I'm going to take Fresno State over UNLV. Now comes the fun part, where the Lanyards come off and trying to do it in one shot without choking myself. So here we go. Boom. Ha-ha! Now comes the fun part. We got 4 big ones, 2 in the FBS, another 2 in the FCS. And I'm not sure what I'm going to start with first. Actually, we're going to do the helmet ones first. South Dakota State, number 1 in the country, going up against their in-state rivals, number 9, South Dakota. South Dakota State, as I alluded to last night in the helmet selections, they're looking for their 20th win in a row. Clear, they look unbeatable. But the record proves that. But it's how they handle business that makes all the difference in the world. When you got to go to your in-state rival and do what you always do best, you should come out with a win. And I think they will. Gonna go with the Jackrabbits on the road against South Dakota. Then we have Montana State and Idaho, a game that I thought I was picking 2 weeks ago. Montana State, the only team out of the 4 teams that are being talked about in these FCS big ones that I have both a lanyard and a helmet for. And Montana State is also a very battle-tested group. They're the number 2 team in the country, and they have to go to the Kibbe Dome up in Moscow, Idaho, to take on a Vandals team that's ranked number 8 in the country in the FCS. Well, coming off of a win on the road against number 5 Sacramento State is one thing, but can you do it twice on the road against the top 10 team? I say they can and they will. Montana State over Idaho. And now we get down to the final selections, the final big ones. Yeah, we might just get this under a half an hour, folks. Number 20, Duke. Number 18, Louisville. I do believe Riley Leonard is back for Duke. Not that that's going to make any difference. I'm not going to waste any time with this pick because Louisville in line with possibly a shot at maybe playing in the ACC championship game. Louisville, by the way, as I said, number 18, they're 6-1. Duke is 5-2. But if Duke wins, they'll be bowl eligible. I just can't see that happening on the road against Louisville. And last but not least, the game that everybody is talking about, and really, and rightfully so, is the last pick for this weekend. There's only one surefire way to do this. With number 8, Oregon, and number 13, Utah. I'm staying away from the television today. I am not at all positive if I'll be down at Cameron Stadium for W&J against Case Western Reserve. And yes, I had to make a mental note to myself. W&J will win tonight. It'll be aired locally on the Pittsburgh CW for those of you that want to check it out. I greatly appreciate it, and so will the presidents. But anyway, with Oregon, basically it's going to take just a couple sentences. Nothing long, nothing wordy, nothing that would make you come off thinking that I'm doing a novel off the top of my head. No. I am basically now going to take a page out of the Rocky IV playbook because we have to go into Drago mode. And when you go into Drago mode, you unleash hell. You hit everything that moves. And in this particular instance, if Utah hits Oregon, Oregon had better hit them harder. So without further ado, I will now close the show as only I can with a little Duke soundbite. You know what you got to do. Do it. Do it.